I love how this somehow got into a discussion about Pokemon. We're not even playing Pokemon. We all know Game Freak just sucks at developing modern games. They don't get enough time, and I don't think they have enough people who are, one, able to work under the timeline pressure, and two, able to actually develop more modern style games with modern technology. But that's a whole other problem. Rumors suggest that the old guard Game Freak doesn't want to change much either. I would fully believe that. They're a very old school company. It doesn't help that it's a Japanese company, which does tend to be old school. Cough, cough, Nintendo. I definitely think that it's more they're stuck with the annual release schedule. Oh, no, 100%. That's... Hurry up. Oh. That's absolutely one of the biggest problems is they're forcing out a game every year. In fact, we got 2 games from the Pokemon company this year. We got Legends and we got Scarlet and Violet. They are not letting the developers... First off, I do think because the developers don't have the experience. If you don't have the experience in developing a modern day game, you're not going to be fast at making it. But they're clearly making these games in like 18 months at most. And it's a serious problem because they don't have the time, they don't have the manpower, they don't have the experience to make a game that quickly. Nor do they have a desire to adapt. Yeah, and I mean, from a capitalism standpoint, I understand why. They don't need to adapt because the games sell like hotcakes every time. They beat the previous ones out every time. Like, I honestly, coming from someone who's actually really enjoyed their time playing Violet, unlike my time playing Sword and Shield, which I absolutely hate, and that is my least favorite mainline games. I had no enjoyment playing those games, but I did with Violet. And coming from someone that liked it, I feel really bad for the people who worked on it, especially the artists, because you can tell based on little details in the world, and yes, there are details in a Pokemon game, or, well, more so a modern Pokemon game, you can tell that the artist really tried. One of my favorite, like, little details is one of the towns has mosaics of the original Pokemon backpack sprites from Red and Blue. And it's really neat. It's a really cool detail. And you can tell that the environment artists wanted to do more, but they just weren't given enough time, and that's why the world is so bland and empty. Violet has so much promise that gets shafted. Yeah, I agree. I think the reason why all the promise and what is there that is like, oh, this is good, but it needs to be fleshed out, kind of like Sonic Frontiers, I think the reason why it gets shafted is because people are really tired of, oh, this game has a lot of promise, and then it doesn't get built upon or it gets completely thrown away. Like, all of the fucking gimmicks they've done. Mega's gone. Z-moves, gone. Gigantamax, I'm glad it's gone, but it's gone. Still mad about not getting a Pokemon Z. Yeah, that entire generation got big shafted. They were ready to make Pokemon Z, and then they just, nope. We're gonna move on. Go on to Sun and Moon, and then proceed. As much as I love Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, absolutely the worst, quote-unquote, third versions of a game. Hands down. I actually liked X and Y, I don't get the hate. I mean, X and Y, I do agree, is where everything started going downhill. And again, I like X and Y, and I like Sun and Moon. Sword and Shield, and that region is the only one I hate with a burning passion. In fact, the Pokedex for Alola, in my opinion, is the best designed Pokedex. Like, I think if you look at the Pokemon that are introduced as a whole, it's got the best overall designs. And, I guess, concepts. I think not Sun and Moon, I think Scarlet and Violet come close in terms of modern generations in that. I think there's just a few more misses in that Pokedex than there is in Alola. Galar has no design to its region at all. It's very clearly the most rushed game, even more so than Scarlet and Violet. They were just able to polish it better because the scope was lower. Yeah, no, Galar is an awful region. It's got by far the worst story in a Pokemon game. It's so goddamn stupid. And you could tell that they, story-wise, they definitely learned from Galar. They gave themselves time to actually flesh out more intriguing characters and a more interesting story, which I won't spoil it if you haven't seen it and you kind of care. What I will say about the sort of like final boss of the game, I was actually very invested, and there were some really cool effects that they did during that battle, and I think if you've played it, you'll know what I'm talking about, specifically how they start the battle. Really cool. I wish it wasn't just a one-off thing. I understand why it's a one-off thing, but it was really nice. I really liked, as much as I don't like the final area and how it's handled, due to not being able to use Miraidon or Koraidon, I think it was a really, really nice change of pace. It was really cool. It definitely has the best music in the game. And just the story itself is significantly better than Galar. They should have just made Leon the protagonist. Am I the only one that doesn't like Leon? I hate his stupid outfit. I hate his stupid poses. And of course they gave him a Charizard as his ace. No, I hate him with a passion. I also think that Sword and Shield had some of the worst character designs, specifically in the outfit category. I don't know what they were smoking, but most of the outfits in that game are horrendous. And don't get me started on Milo's lack of nose. My favorite character in that, not design-wise, but like actual characters, definitely Opal. I have a soft spot for crotchety old women. I found it weird that we didn't get a Matador Pokemon since Scarlet takes place in Spain. We got 2 Tauros variants. I think that counts for your Matador Pokemon. Sorry, we got 3 because there's a fighting water, and there's a fighting fire. I think Marnie is overrated. I can't stand her haircut. I have this hatred of all of Sun and Moon, all of Sword and Shield. Also, Team Yell, by far the worst team. Horrendous antagonistic team. Already has like no personality. Yeah, Sword and Shield has no personality in any character or in anything in the game. Hop is just Hal recycled. And Hal was not a good rival to begin with. Yell is still better than Skull? Yeah, I highly disagree with that. Skull had personality, Skull had leaders that had character. And Yell just existed as toxic fanboys that were annoying more so than anything. Like, I find, yeah, like, Skull is kind of annoying, and that's sort of the problem with the modern day teams, is they kind of made it a point to not have any actual, like, mafias, or we're going to reset the whole universe in our vision. Because I think they just wanted to stop doing that because children's game. So all of the teams past Plasma? No, sorry, not past Plasma, past Team Flare are not really antagonistic aside from annoyances. And I think that's just a problem in general with where Pokemon's gone. But Skull, like, they had personality. You actually felt bad for them if you paid attention to, like, why they are a team. Because they were kind of just outcasts. They're sort of similar to Team Star from the current one. I keep going back to this place. Like, Skull had significantly more personality and more character fleshed out than Team Yell did. Yell had nothing. Oh, right, the Aether Foundation. I liked... They definitely tried in Sun and Moon for the antagonists. I think the Aether Foundation was interesting. But, like, once Sword and Shield really came up, that's when they fully just seemed to have decided, yeah, we're not gonna have any more adult organizations. Gen 7 had a good story, but the hand-holding really... Yeah, in terms of region, Alola's definitely my favorite, but that's personal bias towards tropical settings. But yeah, I'll definitely agree that the hand-holding in Sun and Moon really killed it for most people. It got bad. It was a 2.5 hour long tutorial that most people didn't need and you couldn't skip. You know what they need to do? considering we know like videos are a popular thing, streamers are we have a literal streamer gym leader in Scarlet and Violet. What they need to do is they need to make a video tutorial that you can opt out of. Like, that desperately needs to be a thing at this point. Get off the wall. Yeah, Sword and Shield has nothing to offer, especially since Scarlet and Violet came out. One of my biggest problems with Scarlet and Violet, obviously the postgame really isn't there. Your postgame is rebattle the gym leaders and do a very short tournament, and that's it. There is no battle tower. I'm sure that will come with the $30 DLC. But the raids in Scarlet and Violet, are hands down the worst online experience I've ever had. Like, I'm not even considering just Nintendo online experience. Overall, worst online experience ever. It is horrendously programmed. It doesn't make sense half the time. Thanks, I couldn't tell where that was coming. They got rid of the slowness of the raids in Sword and Shield, but instead they're unresponsive. The raids in, honestly, the way it feels and the way it acts sometimes, the raids in Scarlet and Violet, it's random. You gotta get lucky if it allows you to do anything. And that's not saying, oh, like the Pokemon constantly puts you to sleep. No, that's how that Pokemon raid is designed. That's fine. It's a matter of, does the menu pop up? Does the menu allow you to choose something? And what the hell are your teammates doing? Are they moving? Are they not moving? Who knows? It is random. Oh, also, the people I have encountered on the online raids, some of the stupidest people I have ever encountered in an online anything, PvE, whatever. The dumbest people I've ever encountered, and it makes me want to pull my hair out. So let me explain how raids work if you don't know. So the big gimmick in Scarlet and Violet are terrestrialization. And what terrestrialization does is it changes the type of the Pokemon to whatever the terrestrialization is. So let's say you have a Sudowoodo. Sudowoodo is normally rock. And it terrestrializes into a grass type. So it's no longer a rock type, at least from what can affect it. It is now a grass type. So that makes sense, right? You gotta use moves that are super effective against grass type as opposed to rock. However, the moveset of the Pokemon does not change, and I believe they still get same type attack bonus from the original typing. So he would get same type attack bonus from both rock and grass. But it's the original typing's sort of like hidden. You can't actually attack it to be super effective. You have to hit it with a grass type weakness. So imagine somebody seeing the grass and deciding, oh, I'm gonna throw in my Charizard. That Charizard's about to get rock slide into hell because they don't think, oh, maybe I should take into account the original moveset this Pokemon can have and the original typing, because that's probably the moves it has. Now they're gonna throw in their fucking Charizard because they think, oh, it's a grass type, I'll just burn it with Flare Blitz or Flamethrower or something. That's not how that works, and people don't seem to understand that. So let's say you get a 6-star raid, and 6-star raids are like the hardest ones aside from the 7-star, which are event only. And you get someone who decides, oh, we're gonna throw in a Pokemon that's weak to the raid Pokemon's original moveset and typing. And then they proceed to get killed, and when a partner gets killed, your timer goes down. So there's this Charizard just getting rock slide to hell, and your timer is just getting chunked down because every single turn that Charizard dies.